Shit.
What's up, Zeros? Dan Sizzle here. OTG is a great battle royale game, but it comes with a very steep learning curve. So, in no particular order, I'm sharing a few tips and tricks to help you newer players catch up. So let's dive right in. Movement is a huge part of OTG, so let me show you 4 different ways you can get into flight without using cyber limbs. Number 1, you can just jump off of something. As long as it's about waist high, you could jump off and activate your jetpack. 2, if you're close to a zip line, you could quickly zip up it and then jump off and get into flight from there. 3, another way to get into flight is simply jumping off of a wall. So you run up to a wall at a diagonal, and then you can just hit kind of jump and jump again, and then it'll send you into flight. 4. And the last method is the one I use most frequently, and that's the dash to flight. So what you gotta do is get the timing down. You hit your dash, followed immediately by the jump afterwards, which gets your guy into like an elevated jump, and then he could activate his jetpack. So it's dash jump, and then activate jetpack. And there you go. Those are the different ways you could fly without any sort of cyber limbs. Get your money up and get your loadie as fast as possible. And the fastest way to do this is actually to find the densest loot spots and open crates. Look how long it takes me to jump out of the plane and get enough money for my loadie just by looting. There you go, about 70 seconds, and I haven't even finished looting this area yet. Now let's compare it to me doing missions. I'll knock out a corporate sabotage, and then a drone mission. That took over 2 minutes to get enough money before I could order my loading. Obviously, not all loot spots are the same, so here are a few of my favorites. You've got the circle building in Little Kyiv. You got these 2 buildings behind Tall Tower in Little Kyiv. The school in Stork City. And this cluster of buildings in OCO. So loot that cash quick so you can get your loadie and get into battle. Did you know that executions are not just a way to dunk on your enemy? It also refills your shields and recharges your limbs. So it's a good thing to know. If you knock somebody and you're in the clear, give them an execution, reset yourself. The soldier bag is your best friend. I see a lot of newer players gravitate initially towards the limb accelerator, because they like the idea of their limbs regenerating faster. However, I would gladly exchange the few extra seconds it takes for my limbs to regenerate for the ability to have my backpack reload my guns while I'm not using them. This is especially important if you're in a sticky gunfight where you might have a couple people chasing you and your guns are empty. Like, if they're chasing you down and your guns are empty, you have to find a way to stop and reload. But with the soldier bag, it'll do the reloading for you, so you can focus on getting away, repositioning, and re-engaging. So here's my last tip, and this one's going to be a little more advanced, and it's going to take a little more time for you to develop. But it's how you fly, and not flying too linearly. I hear newer players talk about how they're getting destroyed in the air while they're flying, and a lot of them feel like they're moving enough and they should be hard to hit, but in a lot of cases they're not. I can usually tell who's a newer player by how they're flying through the air. So let's start by looking at an example of what I see a lot of newer players doing. As you can see, they're flying in a very linear way, and their speed is staying very consistent, and they're moving a little bit, but I'm still able to track them very easily. Now let's take a look at kind of like the next evolution of a player. You'll see that they'll start moving around a bit more, a lot more like left and right strafing. Now this is definitely 100 times better than what we saw in the previous example, but when you've got someone with a really good shot, this still isn't going to be enough. Alright, now let's look at an example where you really start to separate yourself. I want you to observe how this player is using the environment to his advantage, along with his flying. They're doing hard cuts, zigzags, really keeping me guessing, and it's to the point where I'm not even able to use my gun. I'm just trying to keep up with them so I can find an opportunity to shoot. Here's another example in a space that's like a little more open. It doesn't have as many nooks and crannies to fly in and out of like the other buildings did. But notice how they're using the environment to break my line of sight on them. And it's not just consistent flying. He's landing, sliding, giving his jetpack a fraction of a second there to kind of cool down a bit, and he even stops and turns around and looks to see where I am and kind of help him decide where his next move should be. These two types of players are worlds apart. One is waiting to get killed, the other one is buying time for either his teammates to get to him or trying to find an opportunity to turn the tables. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps you, hopefully you learned something new, and if there's anything you'd like to know more about, leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to make another video kind of explaining different topics. Alright, I'll see you on Teardrop.